ladies and gentlemen. We have on the line with us right now, we have Claudia Thomas, and her show is called Claudia and Friends. Claudia, what's the name of your guest that you have for us today?
Well, I have another very special guest with us today. Her name is Gloria Michelle Moore. Gloria, are you there?
I am. I'm listening.
My goodness.
Yeah, Gloria is a very special lady who sadly lost her husband a couple of years ago, and she lives actually in Colorado. And what we're trying to get across also, as part of our message, is that responders went from all over this country, that this was not just a East Coast event, 9/11, and that it's continuing to take its toll on those who served. So maybe, Gloria, you can tell us a little bit about yourself and your husband, Scott.
Oh, okay. He actually worked for Department of Homeland Security. He was a federal police officer. And so during 9/11, he was actually out there in New York on a federal court trial. So he was actually there before it actually happened, and we weren't married at the time. We didn't get married until 2006. So he was out there on a federal trial, and he was due to come home probably, I think, around the 12th. And then 9/11 happened, and I think he was with about 5, 6 other officers out there for that trial. And they immediately, when that happened, just went out there to start rescuing. No protection whatsoever, just went out there. And then later, like Claudia had mentioned, the masks, which, didn't help very much. They provided them, and Scott would tell me stories that, he would take off the mask and just his whole face would just be like full of mud, and he'd just have to wipe it off his eyes because he couldn't even hardly see. So he was there for actually 9 months. He came home for a total of 3 weeks out of those 9 months. Just came back for a couple of days during Christmas, a couple of weekends, things like that, and then go straight back. And he was in charge of the rescues and just guarding the area, just patrolling afterwards and stuff. So he was there a very long time. And when we got married in 2006, he told me about it. Never kind of had any kind of medical issues whatsoever. He was actually a pretty healthy guy. And he was diagnosed with esophageal cancer in August of 2013. And he had no symptoms except a little bit of acid reflux. And that's it, like nothing else. And he started not wanting to swallow big things, and they told him he could go for a scope. And he did. He scheduled a scope, and he never made that scope. He had to come in a week prior to do his vomiting. And they said it could be a tumor. They wasn't sure, and he went for it, and they checked him out when we rushed him to the hospital, and it was a tumor. It was too big, and it had already spread to his liver. So, and it was the cancer from esophageal. And, they kept saying if he was exposed to any kind of toxins and stuff. And, he didn't really joke, but he kind of mentioned about 9/11. And, they told him he didn't check that out. Didn't really think too much about it. And they targeted him for the chemo on the liver. And they shrunk some of the cells. And while they were doing that, the esophagus took off, the cancer in the esophagus, and it dipped into his lung. And he passed exactly 3 months from the time he was diagnosed. So he died August 9th, 2013. They said it was the most aggressive cancer ever, and it just hit him just like that. And so it's been a struggle.
Wow.
And he had a hard time putting that together, didn't he? That this was even from the exposure, because you guys were like living out in Colorado and not getting the information. Am I understanding that right?
Yeah, we had no idea. Like, he had no idea there was benefits. He had insurance through Department of Homeland Security, and thank goodness there. But we had between the time he passed and then the time, I struggled a lot. And I had no idea there was funding. I had no idea, none of that. And I had no idea half all these people were passing from the same thing. And we live in Denver, and like I said, when I got married to him and I moved up here from Kansas, nobody mentioned anything to him. And even while he was sick, nobody could even thought, except that one doctor told him, check into it. Well, by then he was already sick, and, wish we would have known more about it. And, it's nice to have the 9/11 forum and just to know exactly what's going on. I mean, it's just such a eye-opener. And he has a 25-year-old son, and I have a 28-year-old son from my previous marriage. And, we always wanted another son or daughter, and I didn't think that we were lucky enough to have one. And in 2008, we were blessed with a little boy. So he'll actually be 7 next week. And I tell you what, that's pretty hard because he was only 4 at the time, and it's been a little tough, and just got to take it one day at a time.
Yeah. Now, maybe you can tell the folks how you learned about us, the health program, and anything else you might like to share in that regard, too.
Yeah, we actually, I had an officer contact me, and just out of the blue, he tracked me down through HR and everything, and he had told me that he was at the 9/11 Wisconsin. He actually had all his schedules, and if I ever needed them, in case I needed to, search for benefits or anything like that, and it was just kind of a blessing, because when he mentioned that, he saved them. He said he had no idea why he saved them, but he did, and it was his whole schedule of the whole time he was down there, and it was just kind of a blessing. And he mentioned, have you had support? And there's this, great online, forum with everybody that's in there. And I'm like, really? And, it was just really nice. And when I contacted Claudia, reached out to me, and, she's been more than, just the administrator on there. She's a really, really good friend now. And, I just can't tell you how many doors it's opened with friends and family, and just, the support is awesome. And, just don't feel like you're so alone. And it's, it's pretty sad that he risked his whole life saving people, not knowing that, 11 years later, or 14 years later, his own life was, gone. So, I thank you, Claudia, for stepping in and welcoming me and giving me the support, because it's been a blessing. I'll tell you that.
Well, sisters, as you know, and as we always say, it's together, is what counts. We are the 9/11 family. You're my sister. Scott was my brother, and we love you. And so we're always going to be here for you. And I'm so heartwarmed, to know that you've gathered other support too. We've become good friends. There's no doubt about that. And
we
your
sure
little
have.
tell us more about your little guy, little Nick. He's going to be 7 next week.
He'll be 7 next week. Yep. And he is. Boy, I tell you what. God works in mysterious ways. Like I said, I have a 28-year-old, and all those years I could never get pregnant. And when Scott and I got married, and he wanted another one, and I did too. And I said, well, good luck. We joked about it, because I said, well, if it hasn't happened this long, it might not happen. And I tell you what, when we, I had Nick and I got pregnant, we were so happy. But I always wondered, why? Why after all those years? And and then when Scott passed, I thought, why was that? You question. You give us a little boy, and you take his dad. You question all these things, but it's like he's such a blessing, because he sure is you know, he resembles me probably more than his dad, but he is so much like his dad in 1,000 ways, and it's like a blessing because, you know, it's like he's still here, and, you know, he can carry on his name and just everything, and it's just a true blessing, and it makes sense now. It is sad that Scott's not here to watch him and grow up and everything, but, you know, we just, like I said, we take it one day at a time, and we're doing it. He's a happy little boy, and, you know, I couldn't ask for more, and, you know, like I said, without the support that I get from 9/11 and the forum, I met so many different friends and stuff through there. It's really just a blessing, and it's such.
Well, you've been a blessing to us. You know, you've been a blessing to us and to other, especially spouses that are going through the same tragedy of loss that you all share. You know, like I've told you, and I've told some of the other ladies before, I didn't go through that part. I don't know what it's like. I can empathize to a certain degree, but only you ladies who have had your husbands murdered can really understand what each one of you are going through. And there's the benefits and the rearing of children and all that goes along with it, and family dynamics, and I can't even completely comprehend what you and your co-peers are going through every day.
Well, even though you hear so many stories where, you know, a lot of them, you know, the cancers lingered on for years, 2 or 3 years, and even longer, and, you know, where Scott only had it for 3 months. I mean, the doctor said he probably had it for at least 6 months prior, and we didn't know, and, you know, we weren't sure how long he actually had that tumor, but, you know, from the time he was diagnosed, it was 3 months, but even though it was short, it was still the longest 3 months ever, and that man sure suffered a lot in those 3 months, and that's probably the hardest to see your loved one, you know, suffer so much and go through so much pain, and, you know, he couldn't, the day he was diagnosed, he could never drink water or drink anything or food again, and so to watch him not be able to eat or drink, and that's what it does to you. He had some kind of blockage down there from the tumor, and it blocked so much that every time he'd even sip water, he'd vomit. So they instantly put the tubes in him, and that didn't work, and he would still vomit. So they had to go lower in the intestines, and he had to be fed through the intestines, and even that made him sick. And so he went from a 286-pound man to a 135-pound man. So, you know, it's pretty. I know. So I've seen him change in, you know, months. And tell you what, it is pretty aggressive cancer, and it's just really sad to know that there's so many out there that are still dying, and it's unbelievable.
And Scott was there the day of the attacks, right? He went over from, he was with the Federal Protection Services as a law enforcement officer, and he went over there the day of the attacks, right, from the court? Maybe you can kind of reiterate that a little bit.
Yeah, he was there for that federal trial, and he was there a week prior, and he was due to come home in a couple of days, and, you know, all that happened, and he immediately left the trial to go straight over there to start helping, and like I said, he was there for so long, and I think he was there for a total of almost a month and a half before he even came home for a break. So he was there from the very beginning. And
so was he there then when the building came down then, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes. And I'm surprised because they did say they told, you know, to go inside, and they waited. Thank goodness they did, because he probably would have been trapped in the first one. And, you know, but right after that, they just jumped right in. No protection, no mask, no nothing. Just straight uniform. And, you know, they were there.
The man he was. God bless him. And God bless you, because it's folks like you that have stood by so many sick responders. We all have spouses, or most of us do, and friends, people that stand by us and help us through every day. So God bless you, Gloria.
Oh, well, thank you. I mean, he's the one with honors. He was a federal police officer for 26 years. So, I mean, he's definitely seen a lot of stuff, and he's been at probably every deployment there was in those 26 years. And, he remembered them very well. And, when we got married, he told me in detail about all of them. And it's just, I look back now and I just shake my head because, he was the most probably giving guy I think I've ever met. So.
And he was only 48 years old when he passed a couple of years ago.
48 years old when he passed, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of lives being cut short.
Oh, I know. Sure question it, but, it's like, it makes sense now what he was exposed to, and, because I can never get that answer of why him, and, it all falls into place now. So,
say, Claudia, I have a couple of... I've got a couple of thoughts here, and I want to make sure that the listening audience knows that this is the Claudia and Friends show, and Claudia is the one that created the 9/11 RescueWorkersandFriends.org website. And to see more, certainly go there to learn about this. And through Claudia's organization, she has gotten to know many people that were affected by 9/11 after the event took place. And these are the people that went there to volunteer and help those that lost loved ones or ones that got hurt, and to help organize the recovery of that site down there. And the guest that Claudia has on today, Gloria, who lives in Colorado. Her husband was working for say again, Gloria, he was with the...
he was with the Federal Protective Service with the Department of Homeland Security.
Okay, so here he is. He was
a police officer
in New York City, and there he is. He's there, and event takes place, and the individual that he went to the site and started volunteering and helping. Little did he know, at the time, because it was determined, right, Claudia, that the site, was safe, as far as contaminants. That was clearly put out there, was it not?
Yes, it was. The head of the EPA, Christine Todd Whitman, had put that out, that the air was safe. And there's a lot of political reasons and different reasons why I'm sure that took place. And the bottom line is we were lied to. And, anybody who's been in emergency services or smelled that air, we knew it was bad. But we're there to do the task. We had a sacred duty to act. And that's what we did. And so the lies certainly didn't help. Maybe we would have been able to gear up or have the equipment made available to us to properly protect ourselves, but that just wasn't happening.
And your friend Gloria, speaking out, who lost her husband here, they have a little boy that's going to be 7 years old here in the next few days. And she's went through watching her husband be a huge, great man's man, and then dying slowly, unfortunately, but quickly, from the time of diagnosis to the time of his death happened very quickly. And it's tied to the contaminants on this site. And this is no, it is what it is. These are facts, ladies and gentlemen. And that's what should have happened originally, and it didn't. And that's the thing, that for all society to go forward, why cook the books? Why not just say is what is? We can all deal better, work better, and make better decisions when we know the facts rather than myths. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people going through a lot of pain, and Gloria's one of them, her and her family and friends. Claudia knows many of them. Sounds like Gloria does too. So the purpose of this show, if I can speak for Claudia here a little bit, and why we're certainly interested in having her content on our radio station, is this should never, ever, ever get out of the minds of we, the citizens of this country. Never. And, and to keep it out there, there has to be brave souls. Brave souls that are willing to speak up. And Gloria, thank you for telling your story. That's a big deal. I know it has to be extremely difficult for you. But you're...
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Well, it's your friend Claudia. I mean, that's a great name too, Claudia and Friend. Isn't that a wonderful name?
It is.
So even when there's pain, there's happiness. You know, the gentleman that we have on before the show teaches us every Monday, you know, how to improve upon our attitudes and how to go forward better. And you know, what is the lessons learned through all of this? Don't lie to we the citizens. Don't lie.
There you go.
That's true.
It certainly would have helped make somewhat of a difference, even if only somewhat. It definitely would have made a difference. You know, I know you and Jeff are already aware, and certainly Gloria knows, we lost 3 responders in less than a week, just this last week, to 9/11 related cancers. The first gentleman who passed was a NYPD officer. He was a sergeant, Lou Pioli, and he died from cancer. And you know, Lou was so humble that he never even went in for the World Trade Center Health Program or the BCS, and we're going to be working with his family now to make sure that they're being taken care of as is proper. You know, we have a lot of folks out there that haven't registered with this World Trade Center Health Program, and I'll hit on that if we have some time here in a few minutes. But I also want to remember the other responder who passed away, Chuck Karen. Chuck Karen was only 46 years old. You know, we're losing these fellows, you know, in their 40s and early 50s and even younger than this. And Chuck was a member of the NYPD also during his time at the 9/11 response at the World Trade Center, and he also served on the Manhasset Lakeville Volunteer Fire Department. Just another remarkable man. And then very sadly, we just lost Marcy Sims. And there'll be, I think people will see a lot of newspaper articles. You just have to pull it up online. Marcy Sims, it's S as in Sam, I am Mary, M Mary, Sam. And she was only 51 years old. And she was taken out too by lung cancer in a relatively short period of time. You know, these are just the 3 in the last week, in less than a week. We are losing folks on an average of every other day. And this is 3 of them.
Wow.
All NYPD responders. And we're losing more. We're losing people like Gloria's husband, Scott, who just happened to be down there on a job for the Department of Homeland Security, and then as a Federal Protection Service officer, and responded, went flying in there to help out, because that's makeup of responders around the country, and those are the responders that responded also after the attacks from around the country to help out. God bless them, and we thank them all for it.
Well,
I can't stress enough the importance of passing our Zadroga bill, and I know we've talked about that quite a bit on the show, but we can't let up. You know, we still haven't seen 1786, which is the House bill, or 928, which is the Senate bill, move out onto the floor. Yet we have the people on board, all those politicians, all those representatives and the senators. We've got enough to pass this bill. But then we've got Mr. Goldblatt, or Goodlatte, that has blocked it in some way because he's heading the Judiciary Committee, which is where our bill sits in the House, with the new bill. And that new bill has fallen far short of doing the right thing for the 9/11 responders and survivors that need this health care program, which ran out for us on October the 1st. Now we're going to start getting notices our health care is cut off come January, February. We need a vote now, so please, I implore the listeners, these beautiful people that are listening to this program right now, call Ryan, call Mitch McConnell, and tell them to put the bills out on the floor for a vote. We've got the votes. We're filibuster-proof. Let's get this done and make this a true blessed holiday season that's coming upon us. Last time they passed the yoga, they waited till right before Christmas when they were walking out on their recesses. We shouldn't be waiting that long. Paul Ryan is a good man. He should be putting this out on the floor. Mitch McConnell, he's a good man. Put these bills out on the floor. Move for a vote. That's our credo right now. Move for the vote.
Yep. And, ladies and gentlemen, the people that put themselves at risk for others, no questions asked, they just did. They went. And that's where the pool of the federal dollars should come into play in these particular instances. And there's tons of wasted money out there, and even with all the waste, it should never ever be caught up in politics, because these people have wonderment and doubt and concerns, and then their family has wonderment and doubt and concerns. It's just flat out wrong. It's just flat out wrong. Get off your duffs and do something. It's why the negative press is on in Congress, because they need to act. And yes, there's people waiting eagerly to find out what's going to happen. So, go ahead,
And
Claudia.
I would also encourage, if I may, I'd also encourage those who have not yet registered for the World Trade Center Health Program. You should. We may be looking at it running out, but I'm feeling really good about getting this bill passed. We just need to get Ryan and McConnell to get that vote out there, and we've got this, and as it should be. But in the meantime, you're entitled. This is not a handout. You're sick. Now, I've known too many people that aren't signing up for this health program because they want to leave it for other people, but you know what? You count too. And these folks that are from people like Colorado, like what Gloria and Scott went through, they didn't even know the health program exists. So we need to get that information out there, and folks can find that easily in our link section on our webpage. There's a link, it'll take you right to it, give you all the contact information and how to get on board with the health program, and I would very much encourage folks to do that. If you were a responder or a survivor and you haven't registered yet, by God, you need to register now.
Any last thoughts, Gloria?
No, I totally agree with Claudia, and, like I said, just more people need to know about it all over the place, and I think this is just the best way to do it, is spread the word, because there's probably so many people still in Colorado and everywhere else that probably has no clue, and, they could be dying now, and they're missing out on so much, so.
And Kansas, too, where you're originally from.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. I mean, I talk to friends, and, I tell them about Scott, and they have no idea. And, I had a few people say they were at 9/11, and, they've already passed. And, it makes you wonder, well, I wonder why, they've never put two and two together. They've never heard of it, and they thought they were protected, and they weren't. So.
Okay, Gloria Moore, and way to be there, Claudia, and we'll do this again next Monday. And Gloria, we really appreciate you being on, and for Claudia and friends, Claudia, way to be.
Thank you so much.
And if I can just throw out one last thing, if I just 30 seconds. Gloria also helps support her son and herself through selling jewelry, and she has made some beautiful stuff specific to 9/11 and some that are member-only driven items of jewelry. They can also find that on our website. We will do everything to support our members.
And that's 9-11 rescueworkersandfriends.org. Thank you, ladies.
That's it. Thank you so much. God bless you both.
God bless you guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Wow.
I mean, it's so sad, and yet it's inspiring at the same time, Dave.
See, that goes to where Gloria's husband says in his mind, and it's probably it just did. He just said, "Okay, I'm going," and it's to where America is bigger than any one individual, and that's something that's Dell's favorite #1 clause, I guess you would call that, and the these people lived it. They actually did that. And we just can't mess around with them. You know, we can't mess around with their families. You know, for an individual to be diagnosed and then go through what was it, a 90-day period of time, did she say? From the time that he was diagnosed until he passed away?
Yeah, it was a short period of time of a really, really nasty esophageal cancer that had metastasized to his liver, and he was gone.
It's terrible. Wow.
Giant of a man. She said he weighed 285 pounds.
It's a big man, yeah. Wow. You know, it's really interesting, though, and that's, you know, and I'm gonna reference Bill Johnson. You know, this terrible death took place, but he did some amazing positive things for citizens. And then they have a little boy that has maybe the look of Gloria, but he has the personality of his father. Living on, man. That is, keep the torch burning, keep the surname going. There's a lot of positives there, but a lot of hurt too. Tons of hurt. And there's many other families that are going through the same thing. Like Claudia said, there's 3 other individuals that have passed away this past week.
We posted them on ReaganRadioNetwork.com, and I pushed the share button, and 3 in 1 week last week.
Okay.
And yet you don't hear anything about this anywhere else. Anywhere else.
Well, you know, I can't even comment about that, but we are doing something about it. And let me say this, Claudia's doing something about it.
Yes.
I just think we're smart enough to see that the message, they don't have a voice, and hopefully we can help make that voice bigger. Pray for that. And the only way that can happen is for our listeners to help communicate what's going on about 9-11 rescueworkersandfriends.org. By the way, she has some nice music on there too.
Yes. And, like Claudia said, call the Senate office of Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, and call the office of the new Speaker of the House, and get these bills moved along, get them voted on, and sent to the White House. Time is of the essence here.
Yep. Okay, Jeffrey.